All right, Jason, take it away.
So, Ed, first of all, let me say thank you so much for giving me the platform to share with you this underwriting of a 92 unit out in Kansas City that we were this close in putting a LOI on. But soon you guys will know why we actually retracted our LOI. So so let's get to this, you guys. Let me share my screen with you guys. So can you guys see my screen? Yes,
Yep.
you guys
Yes,
can see my
yes.
screen?
I was reading your little bio on the chat there. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so this is called Wind Song. This is a 92 unit building. This is 1970s built, and a very funny story of how we first ran across this property in the first place. My rep was calling owners, and then she called this owner of one of the properties that we were targeting, and then he said, I'm not selling this particular property, but I am selling another property that's in our portfolio, and this is a 92 units, but it's listed to a broker, so you have to go through a broker. So I said, okay, that's great. Who's the broker? So we called the broker. I talked to him. I got the details of the property. He gave me the OM, and that, remember, you guys, when you guys are underwriting a deal, there's two most important forms. Documents. Sorry. One is a T12, which stands for the trading 12 financial statements, and the rent roll. So we got that information so that we could underwrite the deal. And one of the things that first popped up to my attention about this property is if you go down to the financials, this property has 30% vacancy between the economic and physical vacancy. So let me show you guys. Right here, where is it? Where is it? It says it somewhere here that the property is 30% vacant between economic and physical. But before we get to the numbers, let me show you guys where the property is located and what this property looks like in the first place, okay? So this property is in a C+ area in Kansas City. If you guys are not familiar with Kansas City, one of the most premium places in Kansas City is called Overland Park. Overland Park is a solid A or B+ area, depending on who you talk to. And that this area is right next to Overland Park. It's like right to the east of Overland Park. So let me show you guys a quick video because we actually toured this property. One of my team members went to the property to tour this property.
Yeah, looks a lot better. Yeah, did you do any stucco repair? We have to do some, not all in one location, just kind of scattered where people have bumped into it or just.
Okay, since you guys haven't seen the exterior of the building, let me show you guys what the interior of the units look like.
So this is a 1-bedroom rented for $965 plus $40 in rubs. He created 3 of these. Same concept of a exposed fireplace.
Okay, you guys, let's look at the. Okay, so that was a very quick glimpse of how the property looks like now. Let's get to the actual financials, which is what you guys came here for. Okay, so very quick story is that the owner of this property has only owned this property for 8 months. They've only owned this property for 8 months. However, due to mismanagement and not getting along with the property manager, they're looking to sell this property. So as you guys can see, they only have 8 months of financials. So then that means they only have the T8. So can somebody tell me how do you underwrite when it comes to the income of a property? Does anybody know how you would underwrite for the income of a property? Nobody? Nobody knows. Oh, okay. So you guys, when you go to a lender, they're gonna look at the T3. They're not gonna look at the T12. They're gonna look at the T3. And the reason why is because because the last 3 months is more relevant on the income trend than the last 9 months. So that's why when you are looking at income, you're only gonna look at the last 3 months, and then you're gonna multiply it by 4. And that's the same thing for the gross rent, vacancy, economic vacancy, and also other incomes. So once you have done all that, you are gonna put it into you're gonna put it here in your scenario 1, okay? You're gonna put it here in your scenario 1, and how do you know that your underwriting is correct? You know that your underwriting is correct if your effective gross income matches your T3 effective gross income. Okay. Next thing, you guys, is normally we look at the T12, right? We look at the T12 for expenses. However, this owner is looking to sell this property after only owning the property for 8 months. So what are you going to do? Are you going to compare T3 income with your T8 expenses? No, because if you do that, you're gonna have a very skewed projection. So what you have to do, you guys, for your expenses is you take your T8 expenses divided by 8, and then you're gonna multiply by 12 so that you could annualize your expenses. And then once you do that, you're gonna input them in your scenario 1 expenses, and then you're gonna make sure that your operating expenses here matches your operating expenses on your annualized T8 expenses, okay? And then once you do all that, then that's when you start playing with your projections. So right now, they're at 30% vacancy, and the average rent is 746. And as you guys can see, as for the rent roll and the OM, these are the average rents. So what we did was first thing we did was we actually got the average rent for all the rented units, which is called the average in rent um rental amount. So we got those amounts and we plugged them in here. And then the second thing we did is we ran our own comps to have a general idea of how much can we push the rent. So you guys, when you guys are looking for comps, right? You guys are looking for comps that have the same vintage, similar vintage, same amenities, same property size, and within I would say 2 miles of your subject property. For example, you cannot use a comp of a, I don't know, 2019 built 200 units with a gym, a pool, and a dog park. Compare it to a 30 unit 1960s built with no amenities, right? So you have to find the same comps. And then once you did that, we actually reached out to several property managers. And then they actually confirmed with us how much can we push the rents to. So for example, the 1 bedrooms we could push up to 950, the 2 bedrooms we could push up to 1,050, and then the 3 beds we could push up to 1,100. So that's how we got our target rent. So our new average rent is about 1,020, right? So we're gonna assume that it's gonna take us 2 years to actually push those rents up to those amounts. And then I was talking to my property manager. I was telling him, hey, our biggest concern is that our vacancy is 30%. However, after 12 months, how low can you push vacancy down? And our property manager said that they can push it down to 10% after 12 months. And then after 36 months, which is 3 years, they can get vacancy down to 8%. However, you guys never want to have too skinny of a deal, right? Like you want to have enough cushion in your deals so that just in case something doesn't go your way, Murphy's Law, you always have room to kind of have a cushion. So that's why I underwrote our deal for say 15 months and 15% vacancy after 12 months. And then we're going to drop it down to 12% after two years. And then we're going to drop it down to stabilize 90% after 3 years. So as you guys can see here, as our rents get up to market after year 2, we're gonna start dropping our vacancy until we stabilize in year 3. Then another thing is that our property manager said that they could manage this property for 3.5%. However, you guys will notice that I did not underwrite this deal at 3.5% because they are the only property manager who could underwrite this, who could manage this property at 3.5%. Because as I was telling my underwriter, if we use 3.5% for our management fee, what are you going to do if you fire this property manager? Where are you gonna find another property manager who could manage this property for 3.5%? So I'd rather be more conservative and have a more realistic property management fee of 6% for this kind of deal size. And then if we have to fire the property manager, we can always find somebody who can manage it for 6%. If we stay with this property manager and then they can manage it for 3.5%, then even better, right? Okay. And you guys, please feel free to stop me at any time if you guys have any questions, okay? Next thing that I asked the property manager is what is the average expense per unit? And he said 5,500 is the average expense per unit for this kind of vintage, for this kind of side of apartment deal. However, our property tax is so high that it's hard for us to hit that 5,500. So so it's always good to have that kind of information handy. Okay. Next thing is that sorry you guys, I did not mean property tax is so high. I mean insurance was so high that we couldn't hit that $5,500 mark, and I'm gonna explain to you guys shortly why our insurance is so high. Okay, so I was showing this to several potential KPs, and one of our local boots on the ground KP said, "Hey, this property is in a flood zone, and you should really look into the flood zone of this property." So I called my broker, my insurance broker, and I told him to look into the flood zone of this area, and he sent me this. As you guys can see, most of the buildings are in a flood zone. So there's no way of you not getting out of the flood insurance. And what we realized was that normally in Kansas City, insurance is going to be $55 per month per unit. However, with flood insurance, our insurance is gonna basically double. So so that's why it made it impossible for us to hit our 5,500 average expense per unit. Okay, you guys. hopefully I'm not losing you guys because nobody is talking, and I'm scared that you guys are lost or just bored. So
I am with you, Jason. I'm enjoying this and I'm with you all the way.
Okay, thank you very much. So 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 what we did was we did several scenarios for this underwriting. We went to banks, we went to local banks to see what kind of financing they could give us, and banks in Kansas City for a recourse loan, they can give us 6%, 25 years amortization, and a 75% loan to cost. However, if we went with that, our offer price is so low, and that's something that I forgot to tell you guys was that the whisper price for this property was $10 million. However, the broker told me that the seller was open to seller financing, and also they wanted me to submit my original offer, which is $5 million. That was prior to me learning that this was in a flood zone. So what did that tell me, you guys? That told me that the seller is very motivated to sell. That's what they told me. However, the whole flood insurance just killed this deal. So if we go with bank financing, our offer is too low, and I'm pretty sure that as a seller is not that motivated to sell us a property for $2.6 million. No, it's not. And then same thing with the bridge loan. Bridge loans have such high interest rates. I'm talking about fixed interest rates for the bridge loans. You're basically at 8% for bridge loans at the time of this underwriting. So with that said, we were only at $2.5 million for bridge loans. So I told my team, okay, you guys, we need to be more competitive when it comes to pricing because nobody's gonna take this seriously. So our third option was seller financing. So I said, okay, what is the most that we could pay for this property if we did seller financing? So for those who don't know seller financing allows you to be more flexible with the terms so that you can meet the seller's asking price more closely, right? So for example, for our seller financing, we did 15% down. 15% down. And then we were asking for a very low rate, which is 3.75, and we were asking for 75 years amortization, and I believe we were asking for 120 months, which is 10 years of interest only, compared to bridge loans, which is only 3 years of interest only, and recourse, which is only 12 months of interest only. Even at that, we were only able to come up with a offer of 3.7, and one of the reasons for that is because when we pull the coastal reports, the market cap rate for this was only 5.5, and the reason why I went up to 6.5 is because I was thinking, okay, this property was trading at 5.5 back in March. This is when the market was at its highest. Cap rates on this property was at 5.5. So I was thinking, now that there's so much more uncertainty in the market, and I'm talking to brokers, and they're telling me that they're seeing a softening in the market. So I said maybe 6.5. Maybe I was being too conservative. Maybe I could have done it at 6 or 6.25. However, even if I did this at 6 or 6.25, we're still not going to get close to. We're still not going to get close to the asking price of $10 million. Okay, you guys. So let me show you guys the results for this. Oh, something I forgot to tell you guys was the rehab cost, right? So how we calculate the rehab cost is because if you look at the OM, the current owner has already put in so much money into the property. I think, if my memory serves me right, they already put in close to $1 million to this property. So I was thinking, if we did, another 300,000, 400,000 for the exterior and the CapEx, and then we put 12,000 to finish the rest of the interior rehab. So that's how we got this rehab cost of $1 million. Okay, so let me show you guys our numbers, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, so let's go to scenario 4. So go to scenario 4. Okay, and then scenario 4 is seller financing. So we're gonna turn this off because it's seller financing. Okay. So, so as you guys can see, those are our numbers at 3.7 seller financing. Those are our numbers. Okay. So we have a 1.72 debt coverage ratio, 18% average annual return, and our IRR is barely scraping 4.14%. So that was the reason why we could not go any higher. So with that said, does anybody have any questions about this deal?
Can you go to the summary?
Sure.
I just want to see what you put in there. Acquisition 2%. Okay, you did have a preferred return of 7. Okay, all right. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions?
And this is based on 5 years?
Yeah. Well, no. Seller financing. Remember, our offer was a 10 years interest only.
Does your seller finance offer include any balloons?
Yes, after 10 years, yes.
Jason,
Yes.
is flood insurance the same no matter what? Is that like a mandated across the board, this is a flood insurance number, or is that something that you can go to different insurance agencies for?
Yeah, very funny story about that. When we went to the broker and I told him, hey, our flood insurance is basically going to double. He told me, no, this is not competitive, expenses. We'll connect you with more competitive brokers. However, he never he never connected me with those supposed brokers. So I guess he couldn't find me anything that was more competitive.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anybody else? Oh, and another thing about flood insurance, you guys, that I learned is that nationally this came from a broker. He was saying that on a national scale, um um flood insurance has been increasing more and more throughout the recent years because we have been getting more, like flooding because of the global warming, which is causing more unpredictable weather patterns. So in average, flood insurance increases by 8% year after year. So that's a scary number, you guys. That's a scary number.
If I could just chime in there when it comes to flood insurance, we've dealt with that on a lot of rentals and whatnot, and what we've realized is that flood insurance is generally the same number across the board. There are some brokerages that, as far as insurance brokerages, that will, add a certain amount, but it's majority of the price comes from FEMA. And that's the reason why your flood insurance generally is typically more expensive than anything, and it could really kill a deal in a sense, depending on where that particular property is located on the FEMA map.
Yeah, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but there's most important documents when it comes to flood zones and flood insurance is the is a elevation certificate and also the and the lost run, because the broker was explaining to me that sometimes there is just a clerical mistake which causes a property to be labeled as a flood zone when it's really not. Um, so the elevation certificate is gonna tell you whether the property is really in a flood zone or not, and depending on how bad it is, they can either like put more dirt on the property to make it a little bit higher, or sometimes they're gonna have to like do a lot of restructuring, I think is what the broker said, to to remove the property from a flood zone, which could be a very expensive thing to do. Very good questions, you guys. Did anybody have any other questions for me?
That was very thorough there, Jason. You know what you're doing there.
Thank you. And before I go, I just want to say that if anybody is in Los Angeles, we have a meetup every single last Wednesday of the month. So if any of you are in Los Angeles, I would love to meet you guys. Come to my meetup, which is this Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. I put all my links and social media in the chat.
All right, well, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
we recorded this, so if you want to watch the recording or any of the recordings, the link, oh boy, I should have put the link in there while I wasn't doing anything. But it's also on the Facebook group, or if you need the link, reach out to me and I'll send it to you. All right, guys. Well, we have a mashup here in another half hour or so. If you want, come on that. And maybe we'll see you there or next week. Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
Jason.
Ed. Thank you, Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye.